So I'm Julia Rico Williamson. I'm an academic at the University of Glasgow. I'm in the HCI department there, but my main interest in my volunteering work is all around publications. So I'm a member of the ACM Publications Board, and that's a lot more kind of policy work and kind of high-level thinking about the kind of future of ACM's publications. But I'm also the SIGCHI Vice President for Publications, so that's very practical and dealing with authors and advocating for authors as well. And kind of figuring out how these policies that are coming from ACM, how they actually work in practice, how that affects the author experience, and how authors actually are at the beginning of this publication pipeline. So it's nice to see a little bit of both the kind of high-level policy and then down in the trenches, with authors who are like working with the templates and working with different things. So it's nice. I enjoy all my publications volunteering. Well, in my own research, the thing that I'm really excited about, I work with immersive technologies, and I'm just waiting for this moment where digital content becomes indistinguishable from material or physical content. And what does that mean if we start mediating our perception in this very difficult to discern way? So if I can no longer tell what's real and fake, how does that change the way I experience the world? We already see this type of thing happening, right, in the way that people have bubbles on social media and they're not seeing things that they don't want to see. But if we can actually do that in an embodied way as we experience the world around us, this is a potentially dystopian future, right? So that's something that I'm very interested in. What's going to happen when we have always-on immersive devices that can create content that is indistinguishable from real content? That's an exciting and maybe scary future. And something interesting to think about.
Do you feel like it's relatively close?
I'm not sure how close.
I mean, the deepfake videos are...
Yes, so certainly things like that, and I'm a big fan of things like the Oculus Quest. I don't know if you've seen, untethered mobile VR. Actually carry it with me even now, and so it's getting there that we have devices that actually are usable in everyday settings like this, and it's just a matter of time before your face is not occluded any longer, and it just looks like a normal device. Right. So we have to be thinking about this critical aspect of what that means for the way we experience the world in the future. It's important to think about it now too. Yes, and it's a really nerdy thing, but I'm really excited about it. So one of the things that I've been part of at ACM is working on the transition from no longer archiving PDF, but archiving JATS bits like markup. And so that fundamentally changes not only what authors do, but the kind of resiliency of the archive, right? So imagine in 100, 500 years' time, what if PDF is the cassette tape of that time, So what if we can't read them, we can't open them, or some reason, it becomes an obsolete format, which I think's not unlikely. But if we're storing things in their very rawest form, so this markup language, then the actual content of the publication is very separate from the presentation of the publication. So I think that's a really exciting initiative, and I don't know, it's just exciting to think about what impact our work will be having, as I say, 100 years away, 500 years away. Is that scientific record going to stand? And I think that this step of changing the way we archive publications is a huge step in that direction. So it's a nerdy thing, but it's exciting. I have been very lucky. I work in a wonderful department. I've had wonderful colleagues my whole life, but it's something that as you start to become more senior, then maybe you start to see the challenges. It's once you get a modicum of power, you realize what barriers were in your way, and so that's one of the things that I like when I am dealing with my PhD students or students in the university and showing them all these different types of roles that I've been in. These are all very much achievable things. I find this a lot in my work, and maybe you even notice in things like the panel yesterday. I'm a bit of an outlier in these groups that I'm working with, and I just want to always make sure that people can see, take a seat at the table, no matter how you have to take it, but you should. So that's something that at least I think I can. Yes, I mean, I'm very lucky in my specific discipline that I have never published with a for-profit publisher. So I publish with ACM, which is a non-profit organization and a kind of academic scholarly society, and it's a very different model of publication. I mean, there's challenges moving forward for an academic, for a learned society already, because thinking about how they can support all the activities that they do in the community but have open access publication is an open question, but I think it's a very different model. And as I say, I wouldn't participate in any for-profit publishing. It's not something that I want to be part of. So I think there's definitely some rude awakenings, I hope, for some of these publishers as we demand open access and kind of demand something that's giving back to the community and valuable for society and not just for somebody's pocket. Certainly, there is a lot of variation in the kind of article processing charges for, for a scholarly society versus a for-profit publisher. I mean, there's a huge gulf of difference there. But I feel very strongly that authors should not pay this fee. So there's things like read and publish agreements. If you've kind of heard about some of these things, where institutions that produce and consume a lot of publications pay more than institutions that don't. So those with wealth are kind of redistributing their wealth into the scientific community. This is an excellent initiative and something that I think is really exciting, and I just hope that it's kind of a sustainable model, because I do think that, as I say, people that have that privilege should be redistributing that to people who don't. Yeah, I think the thing that was at least the hardest transition for me, going from being a postdoc to academic staff, is kind of stopping thinking in terms of the next conference deadline or the next publishing deadline, and actually thinking in terms of a decade of work and the impact of your work. And it's, even now, I still have to remind myself, don't just chase the next deadline, think about what's the long-term impact of this work. And I think if you're doing that, then your heart is in the right place when you're publishing, and having the right motivations to publish are so much more important than just having an impressive CV. And I think the rest will come if you're publishing good work based on your kind of, long-term plans of impact rather than short-term goals. I think it will come, it will follow,